Bujo peeps, this is Neshi Locats. Good afternoon. It is October 1st. Can you believe it? Monday, October 1st. Oh my gosh. September was done in a blink of an eye, wasn't it? It went really, really fast for me. And so, anyway, welcome. Good afternoon to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where I do a daily live stream. I'd say pretty much every day. There's been a couple of days that I've missed. And so today is a rainy, cold day here in northwestern Wisconsin. It definitely is a fall day. Definitely, the trees are turning color, and we should actually probably be at full color, or perhaps a little bit past full color this weekend. And this weekend we have a class here, the Mystic Healing 101 with Polly Jo LeBay. And so it's going to be a pretty autumn weekend, I think. It's going to be kind of chilly. I'm asking the nature spirits for a sunny weekend. So we'll see how that goes, right? Yeah. So, hey, Rochelle is in the chat, and so is Mary Ellen. Hey, guys, I'm glad you're with me. Rochelle says, hi, just waiting for you. It is 85 in Orlando. Wow. Well, that sounds pretty good, right? And it sounds even better when we're in January and it's frigid here and it's warm down there. All right, so before I go any further, I am remembering to ask everyone to share the broadcast and to like it. And the reason being is that we know that Facebook really likes that kind of action. And it helps us to end up in the news feed a little bit more, and so that those souls who are looking for information that we may have here at Star Nations, it's easier for them to find us, right? So I'd appreciate it. I'm going to do the same thing. It doesn't take very long, and I'm using my phone. And so let's see. Yep, we're going to love it, and we're going to share it. And let's see, we're going to share it to I'm going to share it to my timeline, my news feed. I'm just going to say, hi, friends. I'm live streaming right now. Please join. There we go. And those quick keys are really helpful, aren't they? All right, so we're going to post that, and then I'm going to share it to the closed group for Star Nation's radio network, and that is a place where many of our community members hang out. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to write a message. I'm going to say, hi, peeps. I'm live streaming. Well, okay. And then please join me. There we go. And then we're going to share it to the right group. And it's posted. It's quick. You can get it done quickly. All right. So I'm going to leave my phone to the side because occasionally, I don't know why, but Facebook doesn't always give us all of the updated comments. I don't know why. I wish I did, but it's one of those mysteries that will probably go unsolved. Say, hey, Julie's with us. Hey, she says, just working. She's listening while she's working. Thank you for being here, Julie. And Rochelle said, I shared already. Thank you so much. And so did Julie. We appreciate that. Appreciate that quite a bit. So today's Monday, right? And so it's the beginning of a work week, and I had to make the decision of when to do the live stream. I'm finding, because of George, the puppy, I'm finding that mornings are kind of crunched. We try to fit a lot into a morning. Um, and so I'm thinking we may end up doing the live stream in the afternoons at 2 o'clock, my time, Central Time. That's what I'm thinking. Why? Is because, between Mom and George, I don't have a lot of time in between things. And so, and then Paul's working first shift, and I don't know how long that's going to last. He could go back to second shift next week for all I know. So in order to make life a little bit easier and not so stressed in the mornings, I'm thinking we're going to move the live stream to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was thinking, it might be good for the winter, because I'll be coming up here to do the live stream at Star Nations Academy. And so sometimes in the winter, in the mornings, it can get kind of really cold. And so I'm thinking if we move it to the afternoons, it might be easier, a little bit easier on me and a lot easier on George, that's for sure, who happens to be sleeping right now underneath my chair. He's getting big. I just tried lifting him into the car because he can't really jump into the car, right? And so I was going to lift him up, and you can tell he's a little bit more than 20 pounds now. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, Rochelle, thanks for stopping by. She says, have to go, bye. Catch the rest on the archive, because I think you're going to like the card energy. I really do. So for those who are just joining us, let me get the card, the box out here. We're using a new deck, and I pull a card or pull cards every morning, and I have for a really long time. It's just recently that I started sharing it through live stream, and it was in last fall, so it's almost a year since I've been doing Instagram on Star Nation's business account, right? And so we just recently switched to a new deck, and it's a brand new deck. I mean, like brand new, just released. It's called Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. I love the artwork, and one of the things that I liked about the deck when I was ordering it, because it kind of jumped off the page at me, So, I knew my spiritual team was helping me in the selection of the deck. And I like this deck because it covers many different belief systems. I was looking for something that was indigenous, right? And he does include Native American. He includes other indigenous tribal nations, and he also includes pagan and sacred geometry and light language and all the stuff that I just really dig. And so, and it really does fit Star Nations, I think, pretty well, because he calls his information the connection between the ancient and the modern, okay, in modern day. And so it's an oracle deck. I love the artwork. So here, what happened today was there was 2 cards that came, and so the first card is called Trader. An exchange of energy and create abundance. Exchange of energy to create abundance. Okay. So, it's kind of, the artwork, it kind of reminds me of the Middle East, doesn't it? The rug in the background, the tapestry on the pillow, right? It's gorgeous. Yeah. So, with traders all across the world, they really did connect people. They also were storytellers, sort of. They're the ones that kind of brought the news along from one community to another, right? And so, so they were very valuable to many different communities, and they still are when you think about it. They were called traders at one point, and then the term kind of switched to merchants, right? And so in the exchange of energy, in the exchange of energy. So if they had something that someone could use, sometimes, they did use some sort of currency, but many times the currency was actually barter, a barter. So I'm looking up, it's on page 80. And I wanted to let you know what Kyle says about this card. And Kyle, the message is make connections and exchange information, talents, or support, which is what I just said, right? I was kind of on the dot for that one. And also, we take a look at what our gifts are. What do we do well with ease? Those are our gifts. And we spend time crafting, honing them, mastering them, right? And so when it comes to trading, sometimes it is for an equal trade, right? The equal in giving and taking. And other times, sometimes there is a little bit of a discrepancy, and it has to be okay by both parties, right? So sometimes we give something that has more value, and I'm not talking about monetary value, although that's a part of it. It could be, for instance, from a Native American point of view, some of the crafts, we call it crafts, but for a long time it was just a part of our daily life. Baskets, black ash baskets here in Wisconsin, and I believe also in Michigan, are a rare commodity now. And in the past, they used to be abundant. Everywhere you looked, you could get a black ash basket. At a reasonable cost, too. My grandparents used to have a basket stand in the front yard of their home when the grandkids were quite young, right? We weren't allowed inside. We could stand at the door. But I can remember the baskets hanging along the back wall, and they had like a shelving underneath the counter where they would have some stacked. My grandmother made the baskets. My grandfather prepared the wood, the ash, the black ash, and that's hard. That's hard because what they do is they pound the log with like the back end of like an axe, and when they do that, the wood separates in strips. All right, it's hard work. It really is, and it takes a while to get that done. And then they have to prepare the lengths of the strips, and so to make sure that they're even. And then once they do that, then they cut them to the width that they want. And once they do that, and my grandmother would dye some of the strips. I think she used Ritz dye lots of times. Sometimes she did use berries, but not very often because that color doesn't saturate very well. And my grandpa used to make the handles, carving the handles, and then attaching them to the basket. So anyway, they had this little business that they had, and on a busy highway before the interstate went through. And so sometimes, those baskets at that time didn't cost a lot. It wasn't until probably 70s or 80s when the cost of those baskets skyrocketed. Why? Because there weren't that many basket makers anymore. Not many people knew how to pound the logs or want to take the time and the effort to do that. And not many people learned how to make baskets. My mom knows, and all her sisters did too, because they would help with orders that my grandmother would get. And so they would have to help their mom finish those up. So when they're trading, though, sometimes they would trade a basket for something else, something that they needed, but they had the basket, right? So that's how the trading goes. It goes on. Kyle goes on to say that the trader brings the lessons and energy of exchange. When he appears, he could represent an opportunity to exchange talents in order to expand or be about the exchange of energies. The trader also reminds you to be open and honest and act with integrity in your exchanges, because doing something to get something will only lead to challenges. So when I read that, you know what I thought of? Used car salesman. They have a certain stereotype about that, right? Where they can, um, they're trying to um, get the best deal for themselves, not necessarily for the person buying the car, but for themselves, um, on their own commission. And there was a time when buying a used car was really, really iffy. They would tell you they would lie about the mileage. They would say that it was ran really well, and then and sometimes they would actually put um, somewhat good tires on, and then when you went to go pick up the car, they would have different tires on it. So it wasn't exactly a business of integrity, right? So and when I read that, that was the first thing that popped into my head. And then when you talk about integrity, for me, that means that their words and their actions are the same, right? And so when we're trading or when we're exchanging energies, that especially spiritually, right? Um, talk about karma, because if you're not being honest, if you're not dealing with integrity, that comes back to you tenfold. Yeah. And so it's important to know what you intend when you make the barter, when you make the trade. When in modern day, when we offer classes, when we offer books and magazines and all this other good stuff, cards, um, that you really want to make sure that you have the integrity with it. Yeah. So, Trader, for those who just joined us, this is the first card that came. It's called Trader, exchange energy to create abundance. To create abundance. And so, what does that mean? Creating abundance. It says that the universe operates under the law of cause and effect and always looking to return to a natural state of balance. So, if you're lacking in the feelings of abundance at this time, you're being invited to share your time, your gifts, and your understanding with others. If you're frustrated because something isn't unfolding in your life, instead of asking yourself, what can you get? Ask yourself what you can give. The exchange of energy doesn't necessarily mean financial energy. It can also be about supporting in order to feel supported. So basically, when we were doing the cards for the Sacred Path, there was a card that was called the Field of Plenty. I don't know if you guys remember that. Think cornucopia, right? And especially this time of year, in the fall, that's when we see the cornucopia most often, with the last bits of the harvests, right? Um, that when we create, there is in the universe, in spirit, a, an energetic place, a spiritual place where all things are created, the field of plenty. And so when we send our intentions out there, our prayers out there, our requests out there, out to the universe, that's where we're sending it. A place where they say there's no form, it's formless. And so in sacred geometry, that would be the platonic solids. That would be the platonic solids. And because they're the building blocks of all life. And so anything that we want to create, manifest, we're going to send it out there. And so Kyle goes on to say that if you've been holding back with your offerings, now is the time to change that. Allow yourself to be open, honest, and vulnerable. This can prepare you to open up to even greater opportunities in the days, weeks, and months to come. So there's a bit in there, I believe, about treat others how you want to be treated, right? So if you want to be treated fairly, treat other people fairly. If you want to have respect, then respect other people. If you want to have abundance, share. Make room, make energetic room for the new things that are coming in. So I like this card, right? And for today's energy, really it's about what do we have to offer as a trader in trade? What are your gifts? What do you do? Maybe even craft work, or maybe you write. Whatever it is to be able to have the opportunity for a giveaway. Now you don't, and do it in balance. Do it in balance. My mom would give away everything. Everything. If that's why she's in the state that she's in, and not being able to pay for care. Yeah, but you have to do it in balance. In balance, that homeostasis. Now, the second card that came is very interesting. It's called the Stag. It's called the Stag. And it means trust and thrive. Trust and thrive. And in the background, you see the triquetra, the three spirals, also known. It's used a lot at Newgrange in Ireland. Love that. You get the ivy leaves there. Isn't that nice? The Stag. And for Native Americans here in the upper Midwest anyway, the deer is much like the bison or the buffalo for those Native Americans out in the Great Plains. Because, the buffalo provided everything for the indigenous people west of the Mississippi. Everything from clothing to housing to food. They used every bit of the buffalo. And that's why the buffalo is so revered and held in high esteem and respected, because it literally nourished the people. And so the white-tailed deer here in the upper Midwest, in Wisconsin, the Ho-Chunk Nation, Potawatomi, Menominee, Ojibwa, the Anishinaabeg, we all hold the white-tailed deer in high respect, as well as the elk, because they gave us everything: food, clothing, helped with the shelter, spiritual tools, everything. And so the Stag, according to Kyle, which page is that? 132. He said what he says about the Stag, because he's writing from. He lives in Scotland, and so he has that perspective. That I think that's why you got the Celtic stuff in the background too, right? Yeah. And so he has that flavoring of Druidry in it. And so the one page too far. Here it is. The Stag, trust and thrive. The message is come alive and thrive. Stand in your light and glory with grace and majesty. The Stag card brings graceful and powerful medicine into your life. In the Celtic traditions, the stag, with his crown of antlers, is known as the king of the forest and is a totem that brings protection during challenging times. He goes on to say that although the stag has been hunted in the past and still is, he has strength, dignity, and poise. When this card arises, it can also represent fertility and sexuality. Maybe an opportunity to explore your sexual side with your spiritual integrity, supporting you on that journey. So, from a Native American point of view, the stag, which is also called a buck, right? It's about abundance. It's about abundance. And when you know that the universe is taking care of you, has your back, always, that always being provided for, that you don't have that belief system of scarcity. You don't have the belief system of lack. That we do have that in modern times, don't we? And in the old days, 400 or 500 years ago or more, indigenous people, and we're all indigenous to some continent, our people, they really were much closer to nature. They were much closer to the relatives in nature. And so they were always provided for. They always had food because they went out and foraged for it. They knew how to live in balance. They didn't take more than they needed. They didn't, that goes back to the trader, you're having integrity, right? Integrity. Well, hello, Mervyn Kelly. Nellie Kelly, welcome to the chat room. It's good to see you here. And Jane Matt, hi. So glad you're here. Elise said, is your mom doing better now? I would say stable. She has the same kind of up and down, the same flow. The last 6 years, the pain episodes are closer together, like on a day like today. Yeah, she definitely took some pain medication. I wouldn't say better. She's the same. She's not worse, which is good. But better would mean that there's something that is improved. And at 99, and with the strong mind, very willful, that she's not going to do any more X-rays. She's not going to do any more like mammograms or PAPs, or she's not going to do any of that stuff. So she takes the very minimal of medications. Most of them are over the counter. So to say better, she's good. She's stable. The pain level this morning was a little bit higher because of the weather. And this afternoon, she's busy, so it takes her mind off of it. She's watching baseball. We got big games going on. She's very, very into baseball, and so to have the Cubs and the Brewers vying for a spot in the playoffs is like big. So before I came up here, I left her with some popcorn and some soda, some pop. She doesn't drink pop very often, and so it's kind of like a big treat for her, and in the middle of the afternoon to enjoy the game. I told her I didn't have any roasted peanuts, but the popcorn would have to do. All right. And thanks for asking, Elise. I appreciate that. And Jane says, busy afternoon here. She says, good job. My office has a door. Well, that's good. That's good. Oh, and you were asking Nellie about his mom. And I'm good. Sorry, then I intruded into a conversation. I didn't read it properly, did I? So, Mervyn, I'm glad your mom is doing better now too. That's good. That's great. I know when they have something going on that's pretty intense and should we say acute, you know, um, yeah, when they're having one of those crisis moments, it can shake up the whole situation, can it? Um, okay, so back to the card. This is the card that we got, Stag, and that means to trust and to thrive. Trust and thrive. Kyle goes on to say that you have the opportunity to thrive. Trust in all that you have to offer, all your gifts, strength and power, and make the most of it. Make the most of it. You are born to lead, and this can only become reality when you're willing to put yourself in that position. The stag energy allows you to feel safe because the antlers keep away anything that could interfere with your intelligence and presence, and their strength gives you the power to be agile in your thinking. You're being encouraged to retain your dignity and be proud of who you are and all that you have already accomplished. This in turn will give you even more power to thrive. Onwards and upwards, he says. And I do know, one of the things I do know is that in places like Ireland, to see a stag is really rare. And so when you see one, it really is a sign. They take it as a really good omen. I mean, for us, it would be like seeing an eagle, right? And so in one of my trips, I think it was the one that I went on with Amantha Murphy, the first time I met Amantha, we were going from an outing back to the B&B, and in a field along the way, there was a herd of deer. And in the herd of deer, near the edge of the woods, there was a stag. And let me tell you, the deer there, the bucks, the males, their racks really are huge. They almost looked like, reminded me more of an elk horns than, let's say, a whitetail. Whitetails aren't as tall, right? But the stags, they're huge. And I tell you what, it was like, I don't know. It was very exciting for the bus driver, for Amantha, and some of the other people from the UK who were on that trip were like at the windows taking pictures. And I didn't understand it at first because I come from a place where we see deer all the time, and so it was quite exciting to hear why they felt that this was, a very impressive time. It was a very auspicious occasion. I guess that's a good word to say. Hi, Linda. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Oh, thank you, Nellie. He says, glad yours is doing okay too. Oh, you're sweet, Elise. She says, no, I really wanted to know about both moms. And Jane says, that card is beautiful, isn't it, though? I tell you that I'm going to tell you a little bit about the artist here. Lisa's saying, sorry, going back to bed, still running a nasty fever. I know you're not feeling well. And we're still sending you lots of love and prayers for to get through this virus that you're going through. Seeing you healthy and optimal health. Yeah. Working your way through that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. See, Nellie's even sending you good juju from across the pond from England. So got a lot of people praying for you, Elise, so that you get better, that you feel better. I want to tell you a little bit about the artist here. The artist's name is Lily Moses, and she is an artist who, I'm reading it from the book, is an artist whose work is inspired by the beauty of life, that is within all things in seen and unseen. Yeah. Working mainly with acrylics, pencil, and gold leaf, each piece foretells a story of an alchemical process that is relevant to our current times by using symbols, archetypes of both myth and legend. She lives in New Zealand. She was born in New Zealand and moved to Australia when she was 12, and she resides in Queensland, Australia, and she works as a full-time artist. And I can understand why, because the artistry on these cards are fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. So in the card draw, we got 2 cards this morning, and I was looking at how Kyle explains the card layout, right? And this is what he writes about the 2 card spread. He calls it the 2 card cross. He says it's brilliant for quick insight, and maybe a complement to another therapy or session that you just shared. He says he often uses a spread for readings for events, launch parties, or mini readings with groups of friends. That's kind of like us, right? You can use it to focus on a particular question or for a snapshot of your current affairs. And so the first card, which would have been the Trader, right? The Trader represents the situation you're asking about or where you are with things right now. And so the question that we had was, what is the energy that's most important for us to know about today? And this is the card that came. So the most important thing for us to know about today is the exchange of energy and to create abundance. And we can do that all the time. That we are co-creating with the Creator, right? Yeah. And when we create from the balance of our mental mind and our heart, it's a balance, right? And so we're creating from our high heart. And so it comes from a place of a higher vibration. It comes from a place of love and a balance between emotion and thought. Yeah. So I think, that is the primary intention. And so the second card, which was the Stag, the second card is a card that represents what you need to know or what you need to do. So what we need to do is to trust. And what do we need to know about is thriving, trusting and thriving. So we know that we can manifest. We know that we can create abundance. And it's believing that we can, trusting that the universe will provide. Right? And when we create, and we're using the law of attraction, which is a universal law, is the cause and effect, right? When we do that intentionally, consciously, we can create a life that we want to live. We have to believe it. Believe it. We have to trust. Yeah. Even in the little things, sometimes, when we want to manifest like a new house or a different apartment, those are big, right? Cars. It's not in what you create or manifest. It's how you create and manifest. That's important. That our emotions behind the intention is the fuel. And so when we're joyful, we're happy, and we're excited, and when you're manifesting something, creating an abundance of something, that you're actually feeling what it would feel like in the present moment. So, if you want good health, is to be excited about that, and that it's already here, And I know that's kind of hard to do when you're in pain, but it does help. My mom used to call it mind over matter. For the longest time when I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant. Mind over matter. Yes, we can create just from our mind. It's a powerful organ. But it also has duality. And so when we create from the mind, we get both. We get both the what we want and what we don't want. And they say that the one that you don't want is the accident, or it's the surprise. You don't ever see it coming, and it's always a shock. That's when you're creating only from your mind. But when you create in a balance with your heart and your mind, and you're creating from your heart, which is a unified field, you're only creating from a positive place. It doesn't have the negative. And so you don't get you get what you want, and you get a lot of it. And so you can already be happy about it and joyful about it. Yeah. So I think that's the message for today, is that creating with abundance, and to believe it, to trust in the universe that it always provides. It always provides for us. It might not come in the package, in the wrapping that we think it should come in, because a lot of people, what they do is when they create, and what they manifest is at their front door, but it doesn't look like anything like they thought it was going to, that they turn it away instead of accepting it and being, embracing it and being thankful for it. They turn it away because it wasn't exactly what they were trying to create. So don't turn it away, be thankful and embrace it. Because, when everybody has a good story about manifesting a car. Do you ever notice that? I had wanted a car that is more, how do I want to say this? It's much easier on the environment, right? I wanted a hybrid because I live out in the country. Sometimes it's not it's not safe to just rely on a battery, especially in the winter when it gets so cold, and the battery life is goes from this to this because of the cold. And so I wanted something with a good balance. And I've been talking about it for years. And then last year, we were driving by the Ford dealership. I know a Ford, but we drove by, and I said, "What's that?" And it's white. It's not the color that I wanted, but does exactly what I was trying to create for a long time. And so in the divine timing, it was time. And so, and they gave me a great deal on my old car. Yeah. And so now I have this hybrid that does exactly what I wanted it to do. And it's good for the environment. It's good for us. George fits really well in the back seat. Put down both seats, and he's got a nice play area back there. And so, hi, Esty. She's waving at us. And so creating, that's what today's message is all about. For those who just joined us, first card was Trader, and that's exchange energy to create abundance. And the second card was Stag, trust and thrive. And so believing that the universe is always going to be taking care of us, the creator. Right? So I didn't even ask you guys a question today, did I? Yeah. Why don't we ask a question before we say Mama Mina? So what was the most recent thing that you have created? What kind of abundance did you create for yourself? That's a good question. Okay. So I told you about the car, but that was last year. So anything recent? Anything recent? Oh, I got one. I got one. Okay, wait, because we have about a 5-second delay. Um, I actually got to get away from the house last week. I think it was like I think it was Wednesday. Anyway, um, my sister-in-law came over to take care of George for me, and I went to get my hair cut, and as I was going, I left a little early, and I got to go to Hobby Lobby. And why would that make me happy? It's because I was looking for a mirror for the new bathroom up here at the Academy, Star Nations Academy. And Hobby Lobby is maybe 5 minutes, not even, from the salon that I go to. And so I walked in and I went to where the mirrors are at. And guess what? They had half price on all the mirrors, all of them. So then it became, oh, okay, so they're all affordable. Even the $120 one is affordable at $60. So then it was boiled down to, okay, so what style do I want? What color do I want? And so that in itself is abundant. All these mirrors at half price. And I got to have the mirror that I wanted. Yeah, simple one. It was a simple one, but it was like, yay! I walked down the aisle and I was so happy. Um, yeah, and so I bought the mirror, and it was $90, so I got it for 45. I think that is, it's not even a miracle. It is something that Paul and I were talking about what kind of mirror, and he wanted to just go buy one from like Walmart or something. And I said, why don't you hang on for a second? Because I don't want an industrial kind of mirror, and I don't want one that is kind of plain. And I said, I'm sure there's one. I've been, let me work on that. And that's what happened. Nellie is saying a whole bunch of stones and crystals came to live with me. They did. Is that from your last trip from here, from the States, or did you go someplace special in the UK, England? Well, I'm hoping you're going to be sharing those with us then on your show that's coming up on Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month, from Star to Stone. I am Nellie Kelly, is the show host for that live stream show here at Star Nations, from Star to Stone. Yeah, hopefully you'll be showing us those new ones, those new stones. Oh my gosh. So he's saying both from here, from the States, and from England. That's great. Speaking of shows, what's coming up? Well, we have a special show tonight. It's not really a show. It's more like information, right? Polly Jo LeBay, who is the show host for Chakra Sessions and Soul Connections, is going to be joining me this evening at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. And what we're going to be chatting about is her class coming up on Saturday, actually Friday night, we get started. And so we wanted to share about that, because there's been a little bit of a change, and we wanted everybody to know about it. So pass the word along that we have a special live stream coming up tonight about the Mystic Healing 101 class with Polly Jo LeBay. So that's coming up tonight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Terrific Tuesday here at Star Nations. In the morning is, well, actually it's noon. Noon Eastern time is chakra sessions with Polly Joe. And I should know what she was what she's going to be teaching. Menopausal moment. I can't recall it. But anyway, she's on at noon, and she always does a healing meditation, right? She teaches us something about the chakras and about life and how our chakras can help us, and if they're blocked or need to be balanced. She does a healing guided meditation for that during that show. So it's kind of educational and healing all at the same time. And then that evening, Tuesday evening, is my show, Communications from Home. And I am making good on a promise that I made. When we were doing the Oracle deck, which one was that? It was the Sacred Geometry cards. There was a card about numerology. Right, and we talked about that a bit. There's and karma, and in numerology, we can find karmic lessons that we came here to learn, and so that's what I'm going to be talking about Tuesday night is numerology and karmic lessons, and hopefully karmic debt if we can get to it. If not, we'll do that on another show or at the Academy closed group as a mini free class. Okay. So that's coming up on Tuesday. Wednesday is Polly Joe's back, and she's doing Soul Connections, which is a hour and a half of healing. For those of us that are light workers and energy workers, sometimes we put ourselves down last on the list for healing and doing our own healing work for ourselves. So Wednesday night is allocated for that. You get to work with your own spiritual team, set your own intention, what you want to heal. Polly Joe, what she does is she holds a sacred space for us and helps us energetically to release and to heal, working with our spiritual teams to do that. So yeah, good stuff, huh? Nessie is saying, I received an offer to do readings at an event at a local shop this month. Yay for you. That is great news. That's creating abundance and manifesting, isn't it? Good for you, Estee. I bet you're going to do a great job too, and have some fun while you do it. Oops, I almost pushed my iced tea over the edge. That wouldn't have been good. It would have woken George up. So what I say almost every day is, anything that was shared today. If it resonated with you, if it felt good to you, embrace it, pick it up, embrace it, and see how your day unfolds with it. Are you a direct participant applying the information through your gifts, or are you a witness to it? Either way, you're learning something, right? And if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay too. No worries. You can just let it lie. But if you're an energy worker, a light worker, maybe you're the messenger and you know somebody who might enjoy the information or has been looking for the information. You can share the recorded show with them, the recorded link, and you can be the messenger, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, Mary Ellen. So, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be back here tomorrow after. Oh, wait a minute. Hold the phone, Joan. I have a dentist appointment tomorrow afternoon. We're going to have to meet at our 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. That's 11 Eastern on Tuesday, so I can make my dental appointment in the afternoon. Yay. No, it's just a cleaning. No big deal. It's just a cleaning. And you know how hard it is to get into the dentist just for a cleaning? So you don't want to, miss the appointment if you don't have to, or reschedule it. So I'll see you in the morning for the card draw information. So enjoy the rest of your day and see you back here at 8 p.m. Eastern with Polly Joe and I tonight, okay? All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bama Mina, that means in Potawatomi, until we meet again. Got to slow down. Until we meet again. Love you guys.